I want to try to buy a crashed car off an auction website.
Crashed car.
And personally,
I bought a crash car supercar to make a profit.
Wrench on it and try to fix it to see if I can make a profit. I've watched a ton of these auction fixing videos on YouTube where people get cool cars for a fraction of the full price. But it always seems like the person making them does it as their full-time job, or at least has a lot of experience. I'm a complete beginner. Am I about to absolutely get rinsed and lose a ton of money? I don't know.
Probably.
But I do know the first step is you want to narrow in on what car you want to look for. Now my pick is going to be very controversial. I've been a closeted lover of this car for years. This is like top released when I was in middle school.
Let's see what car it is.
And as soon as I saw it, I thought it was the coolest thing ever. As soon as a SoundCloud rapper would make it back in the day, this is what they would buy. Although it costs $160,000 brand new and it looks like a supercar, true enthusiasts quickly shut it down because it's just not fast. And if you haven't figured it out yet, I'm gonna be looking for a BMW i8. And I thought it would also be a fun challenge to see if I can buy this car for less than what it would
I like that car too. That's my dream car.
cost me to buy a brand new Toyota Prius, which a well-optioned one is gonna run you about $41,000. Step 2 was to look through auctions that are selling the car you're looking for. I looked for auctions where an insurance company was selling it directly rather than a third party, as that seems a little less sus. I also didn't want to buy a high mileage one or one that was insanely crashed, which
oh my god,
landed me on this option right here. This thing looks pretty sick. Not a huge fan of the rims. I think those are aftermarket, but I love the black exterior with the light interior, and it only has
how much? 40,000 miles?
28,000
28,000
miles. This is like the perfect spec in my eyes. A few days later, the car was set to be up for auction, so it was beast time. I sat down with my good friend Sam, who's got some motion in the auto industry, and he walked me through the auction process.
Oh, that's tough.
Bid 800,000
What?
Walked me through the auction process.
Oh, that's tough.
Bid 800,000, bro.
There was a few cars ahead of the big body Beamer, but sure enough, it eventually came
5K
up, and it was go time.
Here, we're in.
Yo, we're in. We're so in.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
14 grand. 14. Can we get it for 14? There's no shot.
Ooh!
Be a long one, I promise.
15 grand was all.
The auction started at around 10 grand and
Damn.
kept going up from there. I was feeling a little nervous as I saw the price climb to 18,000.
Oh my god.
Then
That's a new
19,
car.
and then past that, but the auction stopped at $20,775, with us being the highest bidder.
Ooh, they won it at 20 G's.
Let's go. 20K. I kind of can't believe this is real. We actually won. I was hoping to get it under 25. We won for about 20 grand, 2 grand worth of auction fees, so about 22 grand total. I'm gonna go to the bank, then go to an auction branch to pay for the car, and then I think we can start driving out to pick up the car.
So after all the fees were said and done, I paid 22.5 grand to clear my debts with the auction, and I was now allowed to pick up the vehicle. Now normally you'd pay a professional car carrier truck driver to pick up the car for you and then drop it off wherever you'd like. But it's only 5 hours away from me, so I just paid for a U-Haul trailer, and I'm gonna go try to pick it up myself. So we're gonna drive out tomorrow morning and hopefully get to see the car.
Hope for the best.
Chat, that was about like a 6-7 hour drive, but we made it. I think they're gonna let me have the car. They put them on these like giant forklifts, and I think they just load it up straight on the trailer.
That's sick.
So we're just waiting for our turn now.
We did have to wait a couple more hours for it to be our turn, but it was well worth it once I saw this giant forklift carrying a hypercar approach our trailer.
Hey.
Yeah,
How to load a vehicle onto it. No.
never towed a car, so I did my best to strap this thing up, but I'm really glad I rizzed up some experienced gentlemen waiting in line. They had the forklift driver push the car further back onto the trailer, and then I ran into some subscribers who helped me strap down the front.
Oh yeah.
It was a team effort, but I was driving out feeling super confident with how the car was strapped down. However, that confidence was shaken up as we found ourselves on the side of the freeway just 15 minutes later.
So the doors can't seem to close for some reason. Angel and
Fuck.
were telling me it's because the battery's dead, so it can't latch. But we were hoping they wouldn't fly open on the freeway.
And they did.
I whipped up
You know what I'll do? I'll fucking yeah, there you go.
this freak Bob strap down lituation, but luckily it was revealed to me that I could just manually lock the door with a key, so that's what I went with, and then just took it really slow and steady on the way home. By the absolute grace of the Lord, we did make it home, but honestly, super sketch process, and after gas and U-Haul rental fees, it cost me the same to just have it shipped.
Bruh. You should have just had it shipped.
The car was home, but fully dead, sitting on a giant trailer in a residential neighborhood. So the clock was ticking. I needed to start it to put it in neutral to roll it into my garage before someone reported me, and I also needed to return the trailer. I borrowed some jumper cables from my neighbor. I thought this was just a thing you see in movies, so I had to watch a quick tutorial on how jumping works. I hooked everything up, and
Boom!
it worked. At which point, I rehooked the trailer, spent like an hour aligning it on my driveway.
Fuck.
And by the time I did that, the car was dead, and I didn't
No, I had to do it again.
leave it in neutral when I started it earlier, so I rage quit, left the car lined, and went to Walmart to buy a portable starter so that I didn't have to unhook the trailer again. That actually worked, so I realigned everything again, had someone super skinny jump inside to hit the brakes while I just manually pushed it off the trailer, and with the car off, I was officially out of this 48-hour fear dream. My mind was at ease. I could return the trailer and regroup.
Fuck.
In the evening, Sam
She just had a ship though.
by to check out the car, and together we took off the front hood. He explained that to begin this fixing process, I had to start taking off parts that looked broken, so I went out and purchased some tools and a jack stand at Harbor Freight so I could really start wrenching. I also just
Hey.
realized how environmentally conscious I'm being. Not only is this a hybrid car, I bought it crashed, so I'm saving it from the dump. I'm also likely going to be using recycled parts to put it back together. Mr. Beast, Kamala, Trump, if you're watching this, hand
Help him out.
over. Give me my carbon credits. Go ahead and put the carbon credits in the bag, bro. Now that I had some tools, I began the fixing process by attempting to take off the fender, which I gave up on pretty quickly, and then went for the bumper. It took me a couple sessions, a few rage quits, but
That's so dope.
was eventually able to take it off and could now
I would not know how to do any of that.
see the full scope of the damage. Help! Off rip, even with
Help.
my untrained eye, I could see we would need new headlights, new brackets for the
Probably
headlight,
like a new frame.
a new bumper and everything that comes with that, like the grill and whatnot, a new hood as well as the mechanism for the hood to open, new SpongeBob fish tank, new fenders for both sides, and then the trickiest part, the actual mechanical damage up front here, and then any pipes and mounts or brackets leading up to that cooling system, which could stretch pretty deep into the car.
It'll be a process.
Yeah, chat, we're cooked. I'm honestly
Yeah, he is cooked.
super overwhelmed. Like, this seemed like a way better idea in my notes app. I think the trickiest
Seemed like a way better idea in his head.
part here is that there's like no tutorials on how to do anything on an i8,
Nope.
and even there are a couple, but their cars don't look like
Greatest to ever touch.
what this car looks like. Yeah, I think there's only one
There's
way
no hope.
to proceed here, fellas.
Oh, wait, he called his dad?
There's just no way I could do this solo. I probably should have started on a simpler car with less damage, but my dad came by and things got a lot more hopeful. Together we got both of the fenders
Oh,
off,
his dad knows what he's doing.
which was actually way more difficult than I had expected. But as more and more damaged parts started to come off, I could now begin researching and looking for replacement parts. I called my local BMW dealership to see how much they would charge for some of the major things we needed, and
It's not cheap, I'll tell you that.
it was
Yikes.
actually insane.
One headlight is 4,800.
What? 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 One headlight is 4K? 4K? Hold on, I just want to make sure you said that right.
It was actually insane.
One headlight is $4,882.
No, one headlight. From one headlight, bro?
It's like 9-10 grand for both. Hood is $6,194.
So I was gonna have to go with some used parts, which were not cheap either. But after some digging, I found an eBay seller who had a lot of the parts I needed, and they were even in the same color that I needed. So I
Oh, shit.
called them up, and we were able to strike a little deal. We'll do like a full price breakdown at the end, but after this acquisition, I still needed a ton of critical but smaller items that held everything together.
Fuck.
So I went on this website that had a bunch of diagrams, and I had to sit there and try to piece everything
Just study.
together, figure out the whole front end system of this car. I ordered some of those parts directly from that website, some off eBay, and was also actually able to find a local dismantler selling a couple pipes I needed, so we were able to get those at like a fraction of the price.
What I did back there is how
Got
you're
lucky.
actually supposed to partake in this business if you want to make money. You can't just pay full price for these parts online.
Nah, yeah.
And you got to go to some dismantling yards, some junk yards, some
You gotta go hustle yourself around.
try to strike a Mazal deal. The issue is BMW i8s are a pretty rare car.
Yeah, and they're pretty expensive.
So none of the dismantling yards around me have them. So I have to buy all of these parts online, and you just can't negotiate the same way online.
So although kind of pricey, the online parts did start coming in. This right here was that big order, so they had to ship it to a commercial address, but I didn't get scammed. All the parts were actually there. I also bought a brand new battery for the car from a local auto store, and then had to go order a couple pipes from the dealership. And so with most of the parts
I
finally
wonder how much he wasted in total to replace the whole car. He'll probably let us know.
here, it was time to once again call my dad. First order of business, self-explanatory.
Call my
we
dad.
had to pop in the new fish tank. We then began fully removing the crashed-in cooling system, since we had a fully assembled one that came in with that big shipment of parts. Then came the mounts for the headlights. We were honestly just kind of assembling things all over the place. Not much reason behind the madness, but with those on, we decided to pop on the passenger side fender, which made this thing really start to take shape. Had to be careful here. I never realized how
He
expensive
puts one piece in there.
headlights are, but with that one on, we moved over to putting in that new radiator, which fit right in no problem. So we moved on to the driver's side fender, which was a little trickier since the charging port was on this side. But we got it on along with the new headlight. We actually swapped the computer parts of these lights from the original ones with my friend Victor earlier. Apparently, you have to go through an expensive calibration process if you put on a headlight that's from a different car, so really glad those computer parts were intact. We then connected the headlight mounts and top of the radiator through this crosslink bar, and now it was time for the front bumper, which had a couple connectors for the parking sensors, but other than that, it was a pretty smooth fit. It was crazy to see this thing come together, and the hours I spent researching parts and looking at different diagrams of all the tiny mounts and how things connect and all the bolts really started to pay off. Right, so we've got most of the car already done. We just couldn't try starting it up before because we've been waiting for one last like major coolant pipe to come in. Well, I'll have you know, I just
Finally came in.
that pipe up from the dealer. So today might be the day.
I also bought some coolant.
Installing the final pipe wasn't much of a headache, but we found that because this is a super hyper car, you can't just pour coolant into it. You have to do this special pump pleating procedure ritual thing, or the
fuck
it could break. So it was back to Harbor Freight to get this special pump which sucks the air out of the coolant pipes and then fills it back up with new coolant under pressure. And there's two separate systems and tanks on this car, so we ended up having to do that process twice. Now with the coolant pumping through the car, it was time for the moment of truth. We connected the new battery to the car and it came alive, but we didn't mean to turn it on.
I didn't even get in the car yet. I'm not sure why it's making that noise.
As soon as it got power, it started
it wants to go.
buzzing and making all this noise, which got us really hyped, but when we'd go to press the button, the car wouldn't actually start. It was weird. It was in like some sort of limp mode where we could only put it in park or neutral. We tried different ways to press the button and all kinds of things.
No way.
But it just wouldn't start up. It was a devastating blow to the vibe here in the garage.
Fuck.
I called up Sam yesterday and he was saying that BMWs really don't like even slightly dead batteries. So my dad took the battery home last night and charged it up. So we're gonna see if that can work.
As soon as the battery went in, it did fire up again. So I got in the car to start it, but unfortunately it was just
Same thing.
the same exact thing as yesterday. My dad connected the scanner he has, which was able to clear a few codes, but it was still completely unresponsive in this weird mode.
Fuck.
Until it just wasn't.
Yo, it just randomly turned on.
Was it the battery? Was it the code clearing? Was it the vibe that I brought that day? I don't know, but I'm telling you, it worked. The car turned on and we were able to drive it back and forth for the very first time.
That's dope.
At which point we slapped on the hood and I took it for a spin. It was now completely
No way.
drivable, and starting up was no longer an issue. It turned off and on just fine. I'm sure there was still the Christmas lights on the dash, but that's all fixable. The
Break.
car works, the car runs. So we gave it a rinse and I got 5 words for you.
What?
This is a BMW i8.
Fucking dope.
Fellas, You gotta let me know if I'm tweaking here, but for the money, this is an absolutely insane car. Well, I guess I haven't broken down the price yet. I mean,
Yeah, break it down.
it's 10 years old, but it still looks like something from the future.
But break down the price though.
Okay, so as far as the cost, I didn't want to take 6 months on this project and wait for the best possible deals to come along, so I did kind of pay a premium on some of the parts I ordered. Let's just
Told you.
say I'd have to run one of those car giveaway raffles to break even on it. But again, the car cost $20,775. Then I had all the banking and auction fees, which totaled up to $1,912. The big shipment of parts that came in, which were the paint matched fenders, bumper, hood,
Jesus,
full radiator system, and headlights. Point the car is currently sitting at, and as you guys saw, it runs and drives. But in reality, I'm also gonna need a new windshield, which the quote I got for that was $1,100. I'm gonna need 4 new tires, which is gonna be about $1,700. Part of the bumper is gonna need a respray, so let's add in $1,000 for that. And of course, I mean, you saw the dash. That's definitely gonna need some work, but I have a friend who deals with this kind of thing come by, and he has this super crypto computer, so he scanned the car and told me it actually doesn't look too bad.
Can you play games on that?
No.
I should be able to have everything
Can you play games on that?
smoothed out, finalized, recalibrated, all the modules reset. For worst case scenario, $2,500, but I am gonna have to take the car to the shop for that. So all in, we are just $2,000 above the cost of a brand new Prius, coming in at a total of $43,000.
Oh my god.
$1,000 above the cost of a brand new Prius, coming in at a total of $43,338. Not a crazy deal. I think we might have failed on the whole makeup profit
Official estimated value of it.
portion of this thing, but I'm hooked. I want to try this again. I want to run this back with another car, so let me know if you have any suggestions.
So you just kept the card, like, comment, subscribe, and notification.
Bye, have a great time.